was trying to see. I know Eloy and Alex are coming.
Alex is here.
Is he here?
Yeah.
Where?
Alex is here.
Oh, nice. Okay. He's over there. Okay. Hi. If everyone can grab a seat, grab a few snacks really quick, and grab a seat, we're going to go ahead and get started. There's my mayor. There's one of my council members. I'm missing a couple, but we'll go ahead and catch them when they come in. Hello, hello, hello. It's so good to see you guys this evening. Thank you so much for coming out. How are you guys feeling tonight? You guys are getting the cookies, getting all sugared up so you can stay awake tonight. So make sure you eat all of those snacks. There's plenty there for you tonight. Again, I want to thank you all so much for coming out. Like I want to do is have a quarterly meeting so that I can make sure that you all stay informed about what's happening in District 4 and in the city of Inglewood. So I am Councilwoman Dionne Faulk. And I know that there might be a few faces that I have not had an opportunity to meet yet. But I do look forward to connecting with you before you leave this evening, because I really want to make a special effort to get to know all of my residents and just let you know if there's an issue or concern happening in District 4, please feel free to reach out to my office. There's my deputy, Malcolm Patton, the nicely dressed gentleman right there. So you make sure that you get a business card from him and you stay connected with us, okay? I'm looking forward to making sure that I'm available to you whenever you need me. A couple of things before I bring the mayor and council members up. I want to tell you a little bit about what's happening in District 4. So on the screen right now, you'll see that we are having our annual turkey holiday giveaway. And so that event will be happening on November 21st. And a lot of you know that we usually do like a QR code and you register to receive your turkey, and then you'll go drive through and they'll have you on the list. Unfortunately, we're still getting that QR code together. So as soon as we get it for you to sign up, we want you to go on. It's for Inglewood residents. Go on and sign up so you can get your holiday dinner, okay? So just feel free to reach out to our office or check our social media, call us, and we'll let you know how you can get signed up. Also, we are having, in the month of December, we're having 3 toy giveaways. So I want to make sure that you all are aware. So our first one is going to be Darby-Dixon area. That is a highly dense area with a lot of kids. So I would love it if you would support your councilwoman in making sure that we get toys to all of the kids in Darby-Dixon area. Some of those kids are underprivileged and they might not have as good of a Christmas morning as some of our other kids, but you can help me make sure that they have a fabulous Christmas this year. Also, we're going to do a toy drive on 12/8 well, it's a toy giveaway on 12/8, and we're going to bless some Inglewood Unified students that are underserved. They may be foster kids. They also may be homeless. So please, again, help me make them have a wonderful Christmas. Lastly, we're going to do our Winter Wonderland this year. And if you didn't make it last year, you got to come this year. It was fabulous. We had snow and everything. And some of our kids have never really experienced what it's like to be in snow or even anything like it. So even some of the adults, we put the biggest smiles on their faces last year. And so we're going to do it again this year. So please, please, please make sure you come out, bring the babies out so that they can have a good holiday season. With that said, that's what's going on through the end of the year. Stay connected with me so we can keep you in the mix and make sure that if you are connected with an organization or entity that wants to donate toys or different things for the holidays, please, please, please reach out to me because I love to bless our kids. I love to bless our families over the holidays. Okay, with that said, I am going to bring up our mayor and council members, followed by our city clerk. I'm going to start with Mayor James T. Butts. And so while he's walking up, I want to do a small introduction of him that I love to do. I really appreciate so much working with our council members and working with our city clerk, and I especially really enjoy working with our mayor. This man right here is the hardest working person in politics. I'm telling you, he does not sleep. We get emails from him late at night, early in the morning. You guys see him walking up and down Prairie at 6 a.m. and all kinds of stuff. So he is focused in on making sure that the city of Inglewood and the residents here have the very best. You couldn't have a better mayor than the mayor that is standing right here. And so I've learned so much. I've been in office since 2020, and I've learned so much from our council members, from our mayor, and from all of our elected officials. And so I'm very thankful. And so with that knowledge, I'm able to make sure that I'm a better council member for you all. And so thank you also for being wonderful residents, and please, please, please put your hands together for Mayor James T. Butts.
Dionne, it's so nice to meet you guys. I just want to, I'm the facts guy. I want to come up with a couple facts now. How many of you know that Cineopolis, the movie theater, opened up down the street a couple months ago, okay? And how many of you know Tuesdays, they're calling me, see? I'll call you back. How many of you know that Tuesdays are 9 o'clock movies? Now, see, now that you don't, you need to go there Tuesday, 9 o'clock movies. Parking is free for 3 hours. Okay, so on Tuesdays, you find a movie that's not 3 hours, and you go to a 9 o'clock movie. They have a restaurant. The restaurant is out of this world, has delicious food. It's dine-in, or you can eat in the restaurant. So that's the tip for today. Now, let's talk about what's happened with the city and its finances, okay? There was an article in the LA Business Journal yesterday or the day before, and it talked about Inglewood having the highest percentage of unobligated reserves, meaning the money you have in the bank, compared to your annual spending plan of any city in the country. We should applaud about that. And the county assessor, tax assessor, came about a month and a half ago to make this announcement that when I took office, the total valued property for Inglewood, commercial and residential, was $6.9 billion. As of a month and a half ago, it's $16.9 billion, the fastest growth in California. And we also, the Business Journal made clear that we have a higher liquidity ratio than the state of California. And I thought that was pretty good. On a personal note, I turned 70 in August. And as of last week, I'm the longest serving mayor in the history of the city of Inglewood. All right? And one more thing I'm going to leave you with. One of the biggest changes that has happened in the city is that we have a council that is cohesive and can put the progress of our residents beyond personal political ambition. And for people that are going to invest in a city, big money, political uncertainty equals a risk of capital. And that's why you see that people are flowing to the city. If you looked across the street, you saw the Intuit Dome is taking shape, and you see what it's going to look like. That's going to open in the fall of 2024. And I think we had Taylor Swift here for 6 days, Beyonce here for 3 days. And so that was a 720,000 people that came to the city of Inglewood in a 9-day period. That's amazing. And so, you know, I want to applaud Dionne because she's been such a hard worker for you, And if you don't mind me going out of script, I wanted to bring our city clerk up, Aisha Thompson. I just want you to see her. She's coming up on her running for election for her second term.
Absolutely.
She's a deputy city clerk for how many years?
I was about 6 years as deputy city clerk before being elected.
Okay, so she's about 10 years in the clerk's office.
No.
No?
19 years.
19 years.
Yes, sir.
So there you go. So I'm at 51, so you only have, no. So I just want you to remember her face,
Thank
Aisha
you.
Thompson,
I appreciate
our city clerk. Thank you. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to a guy that I've known over 35 years, and we were police officers as a chief there in Santa Monica for 15 years together. And I knew him before I went to Santa Monica as a chief, and he's been councilman for going on, was it 8 or 9 years, Alex? 10 years. 10 years. See how the time is flying? For 10 years. And that's Alex Padilla.
Well, good evening, everybody. How are you doing? Man, this is a beautiful day in paradise. You know, I always tell folks we live on heaven on earth. We are so blessed with all the wonderful things that are happening here in our community. And it is truly an honor and a privilege to serve as your elected official here in the city of Inglewood. I remember a few years ago when I decided to run for city council, I can remember folks saying, why would you do that? Alex, why don't you go be, cause I was being courted to go be an interim chief somewhere or do something at executive level there with other police departments. And I said, no, man, I believe in what we're going to do here in Inglewood. And if you remember, my motto was I was going to make Inglewood the city to drive to and not through. And we are there, and we will continue to be there. And I don't say that because I'm taking, you know, it's not about me. I always tell folks, it's never about me, it's not about you. It's about us. It's about each one of us and what we bring to the table to make Inglewood a better city to live in, a better city to have a business in, and a better city for folks to come visit and to come stay and spend their money, right? Because when you can have people come to a destination city, it helps our economic situation tremendously. And so what we've done here in Inglewood is not just because of the mayor and the city council, it's because of each of you and the support that you've given us. You know, so it's my opportunity to say thank you. Thank you to each and every one of you for your continued support, for believing in us, for caring enough to be here tonight to listen about the great things that are happening here in the city of Inglewood. And I want to thank Dionne for being a great team player. Since she came on, she brings in a dynamic sense of her, you know, having fun, her enjoyment, and when it's time to work, she gets to work. And that's important to have a council member like that. And so with that, I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you. May God continue to bless you and your family. And thank you so much for all you do. Have a good night.
Now, real quick, I got to tell you that, so I have 51 years of public service. Been in Inglewood, Santa Monica, City of Los Angeles, and everywhere I go, it's a funny motto I have. I say, I don't like strangers. I like people that I know that have proven themselves, proven their loyalty. And I know these two people are going to speak later, but I want to acknowledge Tina McKenna with State Assembly. Stand up for a second. Now, she's been our assemblywoman since breakfast, but she's been around for a long time. And since she's been here, she's already helped us obtain grants, millions of dollars in grant money, all right? She also has been a supporter. You know, we're working on this transit connector. It's a $2 billion project. And a lot of people will say, woo, how can City of Inglewood, you know, handle something like that? Well, you know what, 11 years ago, people didn't think we were going to be able to make payroll past September. Our bond rating was BBB minus. That's one step above junk bonds. We could not borrow money. And as of 3 weeks ago, we're rated AA and AA plus. It's like going from a 300 credit score to an 800 credit score. But we need cooperation from people in the legislature because sometimes we need laws modified because they never anticipated a 9 square mile city with 110,000 people being an economic epicenter for the county of Los Angeles. Think about that. Now, the Los Angeles Business Journal, as I told you, they praise us profusely. They pick a 500 most influential people in LA County. They have a magazine every year with that, and they've been doing it for 8 years. They've named me in that for 8 years running. That's because of the respect they have for what we've done in the city of Inglewood. We also have someone I think is going to speak tonight, and that's Senator Steve Bradford. And Senator, would you raise your hand? He's right there in the back. He's also been here around for almost 12 years as your state senator. And I want to thank him for the grants and the support that he's given us as well. Now, the last person I want to talk about, when I ran for office in 2010, I ran in 4 elections, 2 for the temporary seat, 2 for the permanent seat. And you know that nobody would endorse me but this one person, and that's Gloria Gray. She's a District 1 councilwoman. The guy that I was running against, he wanted to take the farm, which had been vacant, and turn it into a fishing pond. And that's what we would have tried to do, turn it into a fishing pond. We got Madison Square Garden to come here, spent over $100 million to renovate it, and people said, no one will ever come back to Inglewood for concerts. Too much crime, too much poverty, too many gangs. Within 1 year, the Forum was the #1 concert venue in the state of California, #2 in the United States of America, behind Madison Square Garden. And I will always be appreciative of Gloria for being the only elected official to endorse me during that time. So if you want to come up and say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Well, greetings, everyone. It's wonderful to see so many people here. I want to first thank my colleague, the other woman on the city council. Is that not a good thing? 2 women on the city council? All right. That's Councilwoman Dionne Faulk. I want to thank you for having another successful town hall meeting. It's great to see so many of your constituents here. And the good thing about having these types of meetings is that it really gives constituents, the people who live in this community in her district, an opportunity to hear from others who have a lot to say about what's going on in the city. You heard from the mayor. I love to hear him talk because he talks about this transformation, which is like a renaissance, right? You know that Inglewood is different than it was 10 years ago, and I think he's been mayor for 13. And so it really is a transformation. It is a renaissance, a rebirthing of this city, because many years ago, while I've lived here for 30-some years, I raised my kids here, and I look at Cheryl Gwynn, who I've known forever, and many of you out there. I've seen many changes, right? And this is the best. It really is the best for this city. It's been called sports capital, but it's more than that. I don't know what to call it now. It's just that it's absolutely phenomenal what is happening in this city. And so, I want to thank my colleagues. I just got elected a few months ago, but thank you to the mayor and the council for all that they have done to bring the transformation to this city. So thank you guys for what you have done. And I believe Councilman Padilla said, which is very important, it didn't just happen. Leadership is very important. And I want to acknowledge the Assemblywoman also, known as Assemblywoman McKenna for years. She has always been a community person, always hit the streets, working in that community. So I know what she's all about. And Senator Bradford, it's the same commitment. I've known Steve for years, committed to the community. So you really have a great team of elected officials. You have Aisha over here, right? You have a great team in this city. I forgot my point about Councilman Padilla. He made the point about it just didn't happen with leadership, elected officials. It happened because of you. It's a collaboration. It's a team. It's working together to make sure that we have the best for this city and we have quality of life. With that, I want to close, but thank you for being here. Thank you, Dionne. You've done great, and I'm sure it's going to be a great session. Thank you.
All right. So, and then I also want to acknowledge Councilmember Eloy Morales. Please keep him in your prayers. He lost his father-in-law. So his family is dealing with the death, and so that's the reason why he could not be here tonight and bring greetings. So please, please, please keep him and his family in your prayers, okay? And with that said, before we get to our assembly member and our senator, a couple more folks I want you to bring up so that they can speak. One of them is our city clerk. Come on up here, city clerk, Aisha Thompson. We came in, we were elected together. And I just love her to death. She is the best city clerk in the nation, period, hands down. She's going to give you a few updates about the upcoming election, because you know we got a big election this year. So she's going to bring greetings. She's going to bring a few updates, and then we're going to get to our assembly member and our senator.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mwah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Thank you to our Councilwoman, Councilwoman Faulk. It's such a pleasure to be here today to bring information to your residents. I'm extremely nervous about doing this. No, I think I should be okay. I've been, just a little background about myself. Again, my name is Aisha Thompson. I am your city clerk here in the city of Inglewood. I come under the tutelage of the Hortons. Yvonne Horton was my boss. And so she mentored me and she got me ready for what it is I'm doing today. So I have to say that, giving credit to Yvonne for putting me in the position to do what I'm doing today. I served in, thank you, yes. I see so many familiar faces, and I just want to wave to everybody and say, hi, I see y'all. So I wanted to just give a little background about the city clerk's office. Hi, what we do and all that good stuff. You know, the city clerk's office is the gatekeeper to the city, okay? So that means everything that happens within the city, it comes through my office. So if somebody trips and falls, your claim is going to come to me first. If somebody wants to, if somebody is suing someone through small claims court, it comes, hi. It comes through my office. Contracts and agreements. Council approves them. I look them over, make sure all the documents are all together, everything is right, and then my signature goes on them, and then we push it up to get it implemented, okay? So when the council also adopts ordinances, my office is responsible for making sure that the ordinances are getting codified. So if the police pull you over, I'm not trying to talk about our police, I love the police, but when they cite you and they write that citation number, it's coming from what the council adopted, and it's in the municipal code, and guess what? It's in my office, okay? So that's just a little tiny background a little bit about the city clerk's office, but most importantly, my office handles the elections for the city of Inglewood. So our school board elections, all of our city elections, they come through me. They are ran through my office. And so everyone knows that we have a presidential election coming next year, March the 5th. March 5th is your primary election for the president's race. Of course, there'll be many things on the ballot, such as propositions, proposals, all that good stuff, but most importantly, who we're going to vote for the presidential election. And what does that mean? Do I vote for a Democrat or do I vote for a Republican? Well, I'm bi. I can't say Republican or Democrat. I have to be neutral in this situation. So if you're Republican, you're going to see a Republican ballot. If you're Democrat, you're going to see a Democratic ballot at that time. Then in November, you'll see both of whoever took the race in March. You'll see both of those names in the November election of next year, 2024. So just some important dates to give you guys before I leave and say hi and bye to everybody that I see in the audience. I just want to leave you with a few points. Our vote by mail ballots, they will be mailed out February the 5th, okay? February 5th, our vote by mail ballots will be mailed. Okay, I didn't say they come into your house, they're going to be mailed. The drop-off ballots, the locations, the drop-off locations where you see it right there at Inglewood High School, the Crenshaw Imperial Library, all those good locations, those boxes will open February the 6th. So you can start dropping your ballots in the drop boxes as of February the 6th. Our sample ballot booklets, they're going to be mailed out February 9th. Now, I questioned the county, and I asked them, I said, why do you send your sample ballot booklets out after you mail the ballots? Well, they want to make sure you guys get your ballots first, so then when you look at the booklet, you'll be ready to vote. I don't know. Don't fuss at me. Call Dean. I'll tell him. We'll talk to Dean Logan, okay? Last day, now here's the thing. We have grandkids, we have children, we have nephews and nieces. If you have a niece, nephew, grandchild, 16 years of age, they can register right now. We want to encourage them to get registered because when they turn 18, they will automatically receive a ballot in the mail. So it don't have to say, oh, I forgot, do I? Right now, at 16 years old, let's get them signed up, let's get them registered, so when they turn 18, they're already ready to vote, okay? The last day to register to vote is February the 20th. February 20th is your last date to register. Also, our vote centers, we have early voting, 11 days prior to March the 5th. That will begin on February the 24th, okay? I've worked really hard, you guys, and guess what? City Hall is now a polling place thanks to our mayor, okay? So that's awesome. I went to him, I said, Mayor, we need to have a centralized location just in case, our residents don't know where to go. Come to City Hall. Right there in the community room, we will be a polling place. Okay, and it's an 11-day polling place, so that means even Saturday and Sundays, you guys can come by and you will be able to vote, okay? Awesome. Just a reminder that if you do drop your ballots off in the mail, they must be postmarked on March the 5th, on Election Day. You cannot drop your ballot off on March 6th and it's postmarked March 7th, it's not going to count. Okay, it's not going to count, so make sure that if you're mailing your ballot, mail it on March 5th, no later than that. And then lastly, if you want to know where to register, of course, you can come to my office. I also have some voter cards out in the front there, my business cards, they're out there as well in case you want to contact me. I have an open door policy. My doors never close. You can call me. If I'm not in the office, my staff knows to call me and connect me to whoever, okay? So you call me, I will come and answer your call. And if you need me, let me just give you my phone number in case everybody just take all my business cards. My telephone number to my office is 310-412-5280. One last time, that's 310-412-5280. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Councilwoman Faulk, for having me. I look forward to continuing to serve you all.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Okay.
That was some great information, wasn't it? All right, let's give another round of applause to our city clerk. And while we're getting ready to bring our first speaker, which would be our Assembly member, Tina McKenna, really quick, before we get to her, I want to acknowledge our commissioners. City of Inglewood commissioners, please stand. All right. We're going to quickly go around the room. I don't have a mic, but if you can go ahead and let them and say your name and what commission you are a commissioner for. We're going to start here with Ms. Hibbler. And your commission. Parking? Oh, yes, okay. Oh, you need a mic up. Let's see. Really quick.
Barbara Hibbler, and I'm with the Parking Commissioner in Dionne Faulk's.
Christopher Parks and Recreation 4? Pardon me.
Better louder. Believe it or not.
Henry Brown, Parks and Rec, Mayor at Large.
Denise Brown. Oh, okay. Denise Brown. I'm with board. This is a new, but it's an honor to be the first one on the board.
Hello, everyone. My name is Vicki Perryman Banks. I'm the Art Commission in District 4. Thank you.
Dorothy Cole, 4th District, over 25 years.
Rita Burnett, Aviation Commission, District 4.
Joan Richardson, Aviation Commission, District 4.
Alina Cindy Jardina, Aviation Commission, District 1.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lois Sale, and I'm a commissioner for parking and traffic.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Cheryl Shaw Williams. I'm commissioner on the planning.
Thank you all so much. Let's give them a round of applause. Really quick, I see one of our newest pastors in the audience, Pastor Jason Shepherd, Illuminate Church. Let's give it up. All right. Okay, so now I want to bring up our first speaker, Assembly Member Tina McKenna, 61st District. And while she's coming up, I want to share a little bit about my history with her. Can I tell you that she has been, like my colleague said, Gloria Gray, she's been in politics for many, many years. I met her when I first kind of got on the political scene and I wanted to really get active over 20 years ago. And she was then Senator Stephen Bradford. He was in the Assembly and she was his district director. And that's where I first met her. And she was amazing because she brought all of these people together to work for the greater good of the city of Inglewood and the Assembly. And I just told her I wanted to work for the Assembly member. I wanted to work with her. She gave me a shot. I was appointed Assembly delegate, and there went my career in politics, baby. So I have so much to be thankful for both of them. I'm going to bring her up now. She's going to give us an Assembly update. Please, please, please welcome our newest Assembly member, Tina McKenna.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Good evening. How are you guys? You know what? I am so proud to represent Inglewood. You guys just don't know. When I go to the state and I talk about my cities here and talk about my district, I always talk about fabulous Inglewood. When they used to say Inglewood is up to no good, Inglewood is up to all good, right? I just want to tell you guys, I met Councilwoman Dionne Faulk all those many years ago. She walked in my office, very energetic, young family here in Inglewood, and she wanted to be a California Democratic Party delegate. And so she was so interested and she had so much energy, you guys, and so smart that I took her right in. We asked the senator, then the Assembly member, if he would appoint her to a delegate. He said yes. Then she went on to go to Los Angeles African American Women's Public Policy Institute, where I was an alumni. And so we just have a long history, and we've been working in the community together for a very long time. Well, I am Assemblymember Tina McKenna, and I represent the cities of cities in the South Bay in LA County. I am Assembly District 61. I want to thank Dionne for her leadership and for bringing us all together and making sure that she continues her commitment to civic engagement, because that's very important for us to come out and talk to our community and let our constituents know what's going on and to also hear back from you. I want to start by thanking all of you for coming out this evening and spending your time with us and for building your city up. Like Councilmember Padilla said, you guys make South Bay's, you guys are the South Bay's economic drive to this whole part of the city. Inglewood is leading. Inglewood is bringing money into the community, bringing money into LA County, and making sure that we are an economic force in LA County. But look, I'm no stranger to the South Bay. I've been working and living in this community most of my adult life. I've been working with the council member for many years. I served under now Senator Steve Bradford. I was his district director. It was an honor to do that. In 2009, Mr. Bradford got elected, and I was just overwhelmed when he asked me to join his team. At that time, we represented most of these South Bay cities: Inglewood, Lawndale, Hawthorne, and Gardena. I went on a couple of years later to serve as then Assemblymember Autumn Burke's chief of staff, and that's the district we serve where we're sitting right now, the former member. It's wonderful to see a lot of familiar faces here today. It's good to see you guys still around, still here, still fighting for the community. Look, I'm a small business owner and a progressive, a proud progressive. So people say, what the heck is a progressive? I define a progressive as people who do things outside the box, right? They think outside the box. They're not trying to do things the same way. Maybe that didn't work. I look at your mayor. He's a progressive mayor. He came in, he flipped the city upside down. That's my definition as progressive. But when I went to Sacramento, people say, how can she be progressive and a business owner? It doesn't make sense. You know, the answer is quite easy, you guys. For years, we have been given false choice about who and what state legislators should look like, how they should think, and how they should operate. You know, as a progressive, we always look at putting the community first. So when I address policy and the budget, I put you first. Before everything else, I'm in Sacramento to represent you guys. They have lobbyists that come in from labor, from business, but you guys don't have a lobbyist. I'm your lobbyist. I sit at every meeting with bringing you guys first and speaking on your behalf. In my first year in office, I had 11 bills sent to the governor's desk and 8 signed, most with bipartisan support, and many with the support of legislators who wouldn't vote, usually with progressive, because we have these people in Sacramento called moderate Democrats. I'm not a moderate Democrat, I'm a progressive Democrat. And so, but I can tell you that I work with everybody. I work across the aisle, I work with all Dems, because that's the only way I'm gonna bring home the bread for you guys, and that's the only way that I'm gonna get bills passed. Well, the important thing is looking past the label of progressive or conservative and finding common values. So I use some of the common values that I use as a progressive to get some bills done. I'm going to talk about 3 of them that I'm so proud of. The first one is AB 1. AB 1 is the staff unionization bill. Can I ask, are there any labor folks in the room? Anybody a part of labor? Well, what we did for the first time is we were able to pass a bill. It's been tried for about 4 times. I was able to pass a bill with the help of folks like Senator Bradford to give the staff a choice to have organized labor. This is long needed, you guys. This will help folks to get equitable pay. When I came in as a chief of staff as a black woman, I made about $80,000 a year. When my counterpart, my white male counterpart, made from $150,000 to $180,000 a year, we want to make sure that's a little bit equitable, and we think having unions would do that. And so that's one of my bills. The second one is AB 1418, which will end predatory nuisance evictions that landlords don't want, which currently exacerbate the state's housing and homelessness problem. And so what this does is it will not mandate. What used to happen is the city and states can mandate these nuisance laws that state if the police even comes to your house, your landlord has to evict you. And when I say that, let me use an example. I like to play dominoes. I know a lot of you guys like to play dominoes. When we play dominoes, we get kind of loud. We slap the bones on the table. We talk loud. We talk trash. And back in my times when I was growing up, the police would knock on your door and tell you to be quiet, and that's it, and they go away, and everybody's happy. Now, if this happens, anytime the police knocks on someone's door, that's a nuisance. That's called a nuisance law. And the landlords are deemed to be fined if they don't do evictions. If one person in your household, say you're a family of 5 or 6 and you have a kid that get in trouble, he gets evicted, he gets arrested, he goes to jail, you can be evicted from there, and he's not even living there with you anymore. We had to get rid of these types of laws because we want to make sure that we don't continue and grow homelessness. Right now, we have an epidemic that is oh so crazy. You guys can all see what's happening across our beautiful state of California. I was born and raised here, and I've never seen so much homelessness in my whole entire life. But let me be clear, this doesn't stop us from calling the police if we have problems in our home. It doesn't stop that. It doesn't stop the police from entering. What this does, it doesn't sanction the landlords and fine them if they don't evict people. And so that's something that was passed and signed by the governor. The third bill I want to talk about is AB 937, which will make sure that kids are reunified with their parents, because what we know is sometimes things happen and kids get separated from their parents. Well, right now, the county gives you 12 months to reunify with your children. You go through classes and services, and if you finish these, you can reunify. But right now, it's so, our social workers are so underpaid and overworked. Sometimes they just don't get to the kids and the parents, and it's a shame because these kids get separated and adopted off from their parents, and we know we don't want that. And so what this bill does is take, instead of having 12 months, the parents will have now 18 months to reunify. So these are some of the bills that I did this year because I thought that, you know, I put family first. I wanted to look at housing. I wanted to look at unionizing because I think that a good union workforce brings good pay, and we know that our community needs that right now. And 1418, the housing bill. The last bill, I have one more, is SB 4. SB 4 is what I call the faith-based housing bill. I ran on this bill. And what this does is it allows faith-based institutions, multi-faith institutions to build housing, low-income housing, on their property. It streamlines that process because, as we just spoke about, we know there's a homelessness crisis and we have to make sure we house people, and our faith-based institutions would like to help. And if you think about it, if you could put 30 units on property, they already have their property, so they don't have to go out and look for property. They already have their land. It also helps them because some of our faith-based institutions, our churches and synagogues, they suffered through COVID because people kind of stopped coming to service. We're back now, but they suffered as well. And we want to make sure that if they want to help, they can. Now, the last but not least, I'm going to talk about some of the budget items. I was able to bring home $417 million for the Inglewood Transit Corridor project. I'm looking at you guys. My auntie and uncle live here. They're seniors here in Inglewood, and they talk to me about the traffic. They love that their housing has gone up. Their housing value has gone up, but they don't always like the Sunday traffic, right? And so if we could put people on public transportation and we can get people to taking trains in and taking trains out and not driving in, it would help all of our lives. And so, I brought home money to get that project done. I also brought home about $9 million to help the business community as we turn over and we go through building this transit. We may have to relocate some businesses, so I wanted to make sure to bring some money in to help our businesses survive through that. So you guys, I'm just so excited about my first year in office, got to bring home some money to several cities. I'm so proud of Inglewood. I'm so proud to serve, and I look forward to working with all of you guys. My field rep is Haley Hutt. Stand up, Haley. If you guys need anything, please contact my office. We're always there. We're available to you guys. We're going to do a teleforum in January where we'll come back and try to get some and ask you guys, what do you want to see us do at the state? So look out for those announcements. And thank you guys so much for having me.
Please, let's give it up for our Assembly member. And I want to thank her as well because we just did our second annual backpack giveaway, and it was very successful. We have a great time doing it. She has a great team working well with our city team, and so we were able to bless 1,000 kids with backpacks. So, it's great when we can put our efforts together. So thank you again, Assembly member. All right, next up is our Senator, Steve Bradford. Now, I don't even know if I need to introduce him because he's been doing so much in Sacramento. Can anybody remember a little thing about Bruce Beach and all the work he's done with that? Yes, let's give it up. Does anybody know some of the efforts that he's been working on with reparations? Anybody aware of that? He's been putting a lot of effort in that and working on the task force. He is one of the hardest working senators in the state of California, but he is our senator. So let's give it up. Senator Steve Bradford.
Good evening. Good evening. You all deserve a round of applause for making this a priority to come out here on a Wednesday night. You could be anywhere else, but give yourselves a round of applause because being here lets not only your councilwoman know, your city council and your state elected officials know that you care and you're concerned about your city because you didn't have to be here tonight. As she stated, my name is Steve Bradford, and I'm no stranger to the city of Inglewood. I've been around since I was a small kid. Even though I grew up in Gardena, I had family and friends who lived in Inglewood, and I was always around the city. I admired all what has been going on in the city, and I've been honored to represent the city for the last 13 years, 7 as your senator, and 6 years prior to that as your assembly person. And I was honored to, she says she worked for me, but I really worked for Tina McKenna. If you have good staff, they make sure that you're where you need to be, so that you really work for them. And she was an amazing district director for me. And you heard from her presentation, she hit the ground running as now you're assembly person getting things done. We've had a great run since being in the state legislature. I mean, I entered in '09 when the state was in a deficit, when we were cutting senior programs, when we were cutting child care, when we were denying hearing aids for our seniors and things of that nature. And I stand here now, we have a reserve. We have over a $50 billion reserve despite having a deficit this year. We had a $31 billion deficit, but we have a reserve that has allowed us to do a lot of amazing things in the state of California. I stand here as the vice chair of the Legislative Bloc Caucus. I also chair Senate Energy, so I deal with all the things that encompass power, transportation, communications, your cable, that comes through my committee. So we try to make sure that we're working right now to make sure every home in California has connectivity, if that's what you want, internet, the broadband, and a lot of families and homes do not have it, even in urban areas. It's just not a rural problem, it's an urban area problem. It's plenty inner city communities where you would never think they would not have cable, but they don't have it. And we saw that during the pandemic. So we've been working, we've provided billions of dollars to make sure that we start wiring these homes. I was able to secure $30 million a number of years ago to make sure we start at our public housing facilities, the Nicholson Gardens, Jordan Downs. None of those places are wired. If you drive by them right now, you see satellite dishes on the side of those buildings because they're not wired for the internet. And kids should not have to go to McDonald's or Starbucks or the library, which is not a bad place for kids to go, to do their homework and get on the internet. But those are some of the things that we're working on as well. I'm going to be very brief. I was able to author 10 bills this year that got to the governor's desk, 8 of which were signed. All I think are important, but one that has been getting national attention for the last week. And if you watch Saturday Night Live, it was highlighted on Saturday Night Live this past Saturday, and that's the Ebony Alert, and dealing with missing black young kids and women. And even though we have the Amber Alert, African Americans make up almost 38% of individuals who go missing on a regular basis, but very rarely have you ever turned on the TV or radio or picked up a newspaper and you've seen the face of a black child or a woman saying they were missing. We all know about the tragedy of Gabby Petito 2 years ago, where you would have thought it was head of state, all the media coverage that she received when she disappeared. But when's the last time you saw a black child or a black woman on TV like that? So we're going to dedicate resources to making sure that we bring our loved ones home just like everyone else. So the Ebony Alert was signed by the governor last Sunday, and it's going to assure that we are able to bring our children, our loved ones home on a timely basis. I also authored a bill, SB 700, and it deals with employment interviews and background information that you have on a job interview. An employer can no longer ask, did you ever use cannabis before getting hired? Because that prevented many people from getting hired. Cannabis is legal now in California. That question can no longer be asked as a disqualifier for employment here in the state of California. So excited about that. And are there any barbers or beauticians in the house? Yes, Cinder, for sure. Now, the governor also signed my measure that now, say you have some minor infraction, you didn't sanitize your equipment, or you didn't store something right, or you just messed something up until now, you would lose your license for that. We're seeing you get a makeup. You get to take remedial classes, be able to correct that deficiency before losing a license. Doctors don't lose their license on making the first mistake. Lawyers don't lose their license on making the first mistakes. Beauticians and cosmetologists and barbers shouldn't lose their license either. So this is going to afford individuals to make those corrections, take the proper training, and be able to move forward. Another issue, 3 years ago, I authored SB 206, better known as the Fair Pay to Play Act, or maybe you guys know it as NIL, name, image, and likeness. Is any sports fans in here? No sports fans? Are you familiar with NIL? It now allows college athletes to monetize their name, image, and likeness. That was my bill. But that wasn't enough for me. It makes no sense to allow college athletes to make millions of dollars and they do not know what to do with that money. So the governor just signed my bill, SB 661, that requires financial literacy for these young folks. Too often we've heard about individuals who have made millions of dollars as a pro athlete and they wind up broke after their playing career is over. And I don't want to take any shots at any of these college athletes, but this past Christmas Eve I was at a party and one of my good friend's son had just signed at a university and he walks up to shake my hand and the first thing he wants to show me is his $20,000 Rolex. And I'm a big fan of watches, but I said, hey, that's nice, but that's not why we're doing this. It shouldn't be about watches. It shouldn't be about cars. It should be about investments. So that's what we're going to do. We want to make sure these kids know how to invest their money so they have a future. And one other one real quick. Let me see. Anyway, but also I was able over the last 7 years to bring almost $300 million to the district and the surrounding area. The councilwoman mentioned Bruce's Beach. We were able to return that property back to the Bruce's family last year. And it was a lot of folks who were critical because they sold the property this year for $20 million. And they said, why would they do that? In real estate, we know it's one thing for sure, location, location, location. But there's something else. And what is that? Zoning, zoning, and zoning. And this property was zoned for public access only. And the city of Manhattan Beach was not going to change the zoning. So it had no retail or commercial value to the family. The only interested party that wanted to buy it was the county who had controlled it for the last 40 years. So they were the only logical tenant because who's going to pay $70 million and you can't build condos, you can't build a restaurant, you can't put the same resort that the Bruce family established in 1912 back on that location. So I didn't blame the family for selling it because, again, the city of Manhattan Beach has yet to apologize to the family. So we knew they weren't going to change the zoning to even allow them to build the light condos that's both on the east and west of that property right now. So it made sense. As the councilwoman stated, I spent the last 2 years of my life on the reparations task force. There was only 9 people in the state of California who served on that task force. We're going to spend next year making sure we put meat on the bones to move forth legislation to deliver on reparations. And I just want to set the table and level set for everybody. Don't be looking for money because reparations was never about money. It was about land. And that's how generational wealth is passed on, through land. So let's make sure people own land because it's people in this state who've lived here for over 100 years who've never owned a piece of property. And so that's what I'm going to work on, making sure you're able to buy a home, assist you with ongoing health care, assist you with ongoing education if that's what you want. I've heard people say, I already got a college degree, I don't want to go back to college. I understand that. But we want to make it, just like the GI Bill is available to encompass all those things that we need, we want to make reparations do the same thing. So thank you again, Councilwoman, for your tremendous leadership. Thank you all for being here. And my office is available. Joy Richardson is on my staff. If you just call us, we're in Inglewood City Hall. That's where we've been on the 6th floor, and I look forward to representing you and continue to represent you. Thank you very much.
Wow, let's give our Senator, Stephen Bradford, another hand. I told y'all he was the hardest working senator in Sacramento, didn't I? He has some great legislation he's working on. Interested to continue to follow you. Thank you so much, Senator Bradford. Before we get started with our next speaker, I want to give a couple of shout outs. First is I see our Supervisor Holly Mitchell's representative in the House, Alfonso Delgado. Let's give it up. He always comes out to District 4 events and supports us, makes sure that Los Angeles County is represented at all of our City of Inglewood events as well as our District 4. So thank you so much for being here. I also want to give a shout out to Chuck Dennis. He's here and he helped put on the City of Inglewood first annual City of Inglewood Music Festival. Let's give it up. He's back in the back. He's one of our partners. Looking forward to working with him to have another successful music festival. So I think that is it right now. Okay, and so we're going to move on to our next speakers. We're going to do a public safety update. I'd like to invite our District 4 Lieutenant Meeks and Cinder Eller, our police community liaison, up. They're going to talk to you a little bit about what they're seeing in District 4 and how they're resolving our problems. All right, everybody knows Cinder. Everybody knows Cinder. Let's give them a, here we go, y'all, here we go. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming out. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming out.
The agenda says Q&A. What's up with that?
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. We were a little bit behind. Did you have any questions for our senator before? I'm gonna do the Q&A, after a group of speakers, if that's okay with you. I want to make sure we didn't get behind. So, but thank you so much. We'll get to your question. You'll be the first one I call on, okay? All right. Thank you.
Forgive me for what I'm about to say, but when we came up here, y'all cheered and clapped for Cinder, and I don't feel like that was for me. I don't feel like.
He's such a hater. I love my lieutenant.
All right, thank you. Now we can get started. So, on behalf of Police Chief Mark Fronterata, my name is Lieutenant Jeffrey Meeks of the Inglewood Police Department, and thank you for allowing me to be here this evening, family. And obviously next to me is Miss Cinder Eller. You already know her. And I am your District 4 Police Commander, Police Liaison. I'm also the Watch Commander for Night Watch, Sunday through Wednesdays. Thank you, Councilwoman Faulk, for inviting me here. I've had the pleasure of being here several times in the past to talk to you beautiful people. And in the past, I've come up here and I've thrown out a bunch of numbers and stats and everything else to you to try to help you believe that, we are truly here to enhance your quality of life and to ensure that your safety is at the utmost paramount, top of the mountain priority for us. I'm gonna do things a little different tonight because we're pressed for time. So I just want to highlight 3 recent incidents that we as the Inglewood Police Department have encountered over the last several days, primarily here in District 4, just to kind of reaffirm our commitment to your safety and to your quality of life. The first incident I want to talk about just happened yesterday. We all know that retail theft is a national epidemic right now. We're not immune to that. You are able to shop and enjoy the qualities of the stores and the businesses that have come in our community, and it's our job to make sure that you're able to shop safely and not have to be in fear when you shop. Yesterday, there were 2 gentlemen that went to our Old Navy store right here in our Century Village on Century. 2 gentlemen walked into Old Navy. They walked directly to the jeans section, to the pants section, and they stole approximately 71 pair of pants. They grabbed 71 pair of pants and walked straight out of the store, got in their vehicle, took off. Obviously, Old Navy called us. Our police officers responded to Old Navy. Now, in other jurisdictions, police officers, they respond to the call, they take the information, they leave, and they go about their day. We're a little different here at the Inglewood Police Department. We actually took the time to start our investigation right then and there. We found out that out of the 71 pair of jeans, 2 of those pair of jeans had tracking devices in them. We immediately contacted the company that has control over that tracking device. We immediately started working with that tracking company. We located that vehicle in the city of El Segundo. It had just arrived at a shopping center parking lot. We immediately contacted El Segundo Police Department. They responded. They located the vehicle. They stopped the 2 occupants. Our Inglewood officers immediately went to the city of El Segundo. They took those 2 gentlemen into custody. And all 71 pair of jeans, totaling just under $5,000 in value, were recovered and handed back to Old Navy yesterday. And as of 6:13 Wednesday night, those two gentlemen are still sitting in our jail right now. So when you're out and about and you're shopping, stay vigilant. If you see something, say something, whether it's to a clerk in that store or to a loss prevention person. Help us so we can try everything we can to prevent this national epidemic from continuing to fester here in our community. Vehicle thefts. Stay vigilant. Lock your doors. Do everything you can. In our district, District 4, in the last 60 days, we've experienced 26 vehicle thefts. High number, but when you look at 26 in a 6-day period, that's pretty good. 2 nights ago, I get off at 2 a.m. I work Sunday through Wednesday, like I told y'all. I get off at 2 a.m. At 3 a.m. Monday morning, our officers were being vigilant, driving around right on the border of District 4 and District 3. They saw a Kia Optima driving down the street, kind of crazy, kind of erratically, didn't really fit. Our officers ultimately pulled that vehicle over. It was occupied by 3 people. The driver of that vehicle was 13 years old. The second passenger of that vehicle was 13 years old, and the third passenger was 14 years old. The steering column was busted. It was a brand new stolen vehicle. Our officers were able to recover that vehicle and get that vehicle back to the owner. And more importantly, we were able to get these 3 juveniles at 3 a.m. in the morning off the streets to our station back into the care of their parents. So talk to your neighbors, talk to your family members. Let's be vigilant in terms of our kids and how we're raising our kids. I remember growing up, as a neighbor, if I did something wrong, I remember that lady across the street. She come grab my ear, so it takes a village. And this is what we are dealing with out here in society currently. The third thing I want to bring up, I know City of Inglewood's been in the news. We've had a homicide. We had an officer-involved shooting a couple weeks ago, brought some news attention. Violent crime still exists in our society. It's not where it used to be, but it's still there. Saturday morning, right at the intersection of Century and Crenshaw, there was a gentleman driving to work, 9:17 a.m. It appears there was some sort of a road rage incident in where our victim was stopped at the red light at Century and Crenshaw, and a vehicle pulled up next to him and ultimately fired 3 rounds into his vehicle. Fortunately, and I say fortunately because the victim's wife was following behind him in her car, and that's just how they decided to do things that morning. But originally, she would have been in the car with him. Had she been in the car, she more than likely would have gotten hit. But thankfully, she was in a car behind him following. Nevertheless, that car fired 3 rounds into our victim's car, and the car immediately made a right-hand turn on the Century Boulevard going eastbound, and then started going northbound on Van Ness. Without us even knowing, our officers just happened to be on Van Ness patrolling, and they saw this vehicle driving erratically. They decided to make a U-turn and stop that vehicle. And in the middle of their traffic stop, we had radio transmissions that that vehicle that they had stopped was involved in our shooting. Long story short, they ultimately took the gentleman into custody after, he resisted and didn't want to go with the program for a little bit. But they were able to safely get him into custody. They recovered a gun within the car, as well as we recovered the casings. We also have video evidence to corroborate him being the actual suspect in that shooting, and he was sent to court this morning to answer to attempt murder, an assault with a deadly weapon, and a variety of other crimes. So I know that there are still some issues that affect our district, quality of life, that you have concerns and you have cares about. And we hear all of those concerns and we hear all of those cares. And we're doing everything we can to address your concerns and address your safety and your quality of life issues. I just wanted to bring these 3 incidents up to just kind of reaffirm that we're out there. We're doing what we can with the resources that we have, and we're doing everything within our power to try to keep you safe, try to keep your family safe, and try to ensure that your quality of life is still high with everything that we have going on and coming into our city. All right? And then Cinderella, She's got her pulse on the city, and she's doing everything she can with a gentle hand to address our homeless issue, to help address our mental health crisis that we have in our society. And she's doing a phenomenal job. And we would not even be able to touch the surface of what we've been able to do without her. So with that being said, that is what your Inglewood Police Department is doing. That is what we've been doing, and that is what we will continue to do to keep your safety number one and to keep your quality of life number one. All right? So with that being said,
we're going to take some questions, and I'm going to start with this gentleman over here. Do you mind going to the microphone so we can, we have our microphone back there.
So my name is Alex, and I live in 4821 Century Boulevard. I've lived here for 2 years now. And in terms of public safety, I guess my question is more for the leaders, not really the police, because obviously this spike in crime and theft is more of a policy issue, and you know the crime went up as poverty went up. So we're trying to, I think, what would help is just giving people what they need. You know, it's an issue if our own neighbors are stealing from us, you know. So I guess it would be great if you guys start thinking and talking about universal basic income, because that would help a lot with the crime. So it's not.
Here, let me just. Where's Malcolm? Malcolm, can you take the microphone? I don't know if they want to. Sorry about that.
Good evening. I would like. Hello? Okay. Okay, so, sorry, LT. I know you work on the, what you call it, mid-PMs? So who do we contact for the day watch, primarily during the day? Because I've contacted the front desk, and the answering machine is full, and there's not an answer. So FYI, we need a contact number online that is correct, so that people calling for non-emergent situations can reach someone. Everything, of course, is not going to call for 911. So that's super important, I believe, especially right now with everything that is going on. Secondly, the homeless advocate, I believe that's, I'm not sure who that would be. Is that you, ma'am? Okay. We need information about that. I contacted the office today. I went through the business office and so forth to request the homeless advocate, because there was a homeless person at the Second Mount Nemo church with a tent today. And I don't think that we want to start that, because that is going to create more problems for the city. So I think there's a need to put out information about how citizens can get in contact with the homeless advocate if there are issues pertaining to homelessness in their community. Third thing, I'm sorry to carry on like this, but only opportunity. Traffic. I've had I've seen about 6 or 7 accidents in front of my home over the last year. Every day, the traffic speed, people are speeding through nonstop. They don't stop for traffic whatsoever at 111th Place and Yukon Avenue, and it's really bad. I don't really know how to say it other than that, it's bad. I'm afraid to drive sometimes there because we don't know, are they going to stop? Are they not going to stop? Are they going to hit someone in the pedestrian walk? We don't know. Other than that, I would thank you very much for the football, the traffic and so forth. It's not as bad as it was from the beginning. Thank you for the work that you've done there, but we do need to still work on the traffic. So I'll just leave you with those things. I know that's a lot, but thank you.
Ma'am? Ma'am? Hi, what's your name? Shirley? Hi, Shirley. My name is Cinder. I work in the community affairs section. I run community affairs in the homeless program, and I'm always around. And you can go online to thecityofinglewood.org, look under the police department. It's like a little tab. It says PD. You go under the community affairs section, and my name is there, and explain everything that I do and the phone number to contact me. But I'll give it to you now. It's 310-412-5530. 310-412-5530. And also, Mr. Malcolm was giving away these Inglewood governmental telephone directories. Our number is on there. Okay? All right.
And then Shirley, also, I wanted to let you know, please leave your contact information with my deputy Malcolm, because what we'll do is, I know you said there's some traffic concerns, so what we'll do is I can have one of our city staff members do a little investigation, maybe a survey, and see if there is, if it qualifies for any traffic safety additional parameters in that area. So leave your information there, and we can follow up on that specific intersection and see if there's anything that we can do. Okay? Do we have any other questions before we move on to our next speaker? Oh, thank you for going to the podium, Yolanda Lathan. Hi, how are you? Good to see you.
I'm well. So the question that I have, for the last 2 nights, I've been noticing an influx of these youngsters doing these donuts. I live on the cusp of Inglewood and right off of Van Ness, so I'm not sure if it's on the Inglewood side or it's the LA side. So look like around 2-ish, 3 o'clock, look like Inglewood should be rolling around there because it is very disturbing. You know, it was, last night it was for about an hour. And I was like, I didn't hear any sirens, I didn't hear anything. So is that something that we could do, Lieutenant Meeks?
You gonna call me out like that? No, we've been really aggressive with the street takeovers over the last year. So what you're hearing is noise from the city of LA. For example, Saturday night they took over the intersection of Crenshaw and Florence in the city of LA for about 45 minutes. They don't take over our intersections anymore. Sunday night, we got word that they were on their way to Imperial and Yukon, and we met them there. And they kept driving. They used to take over Imperial and Van Ness because they figured, oh, it's the corner, you know, nothing's gonna happen. We meet them there now. So now they go a little further down and they go to Imperial and Western. And I can't speak for the sheriff's department, but they get to be there and play for a little while. They don't get to play in Inglewood. So we're on it. We will continue to be on it. We're not going to let that issue come back to us and damage our streets.
No, you were. I'm so sorry about that. Right. Oh, okay. Thank you so much for that, and we understand. We're still working on our traffic control. We've improved it significantly, but we still have some work to do, so please be patient with us as we continue to grow and improve our system. We're going to go ahead and take one more question because we still have several presentations.
Barfield, and I just have one really big concern now, is when you're coming out Imperial Village on Crenshaw and 118th, there is a sign there that says no U-turn if you're going down Crenshaw. And we got cars that are making U-turns right at 118th and Crenshaw. If you're going north, they're turning. And so if you're sitting at the light and you're looking down Crenshaw to see who's coming south and someone turns in front of you, I almost took out a nice Mercedes the other day on my way to my aerobics class. So I'm just saying we need to have something done because they're coming like 2 and 3 cars. One person sees another person do it and they start doing it, and so we can have somebody there. Thank you.
We do have our Public Works Department here. They're taking notes. What is that intersection again, ma'am?
Ready? Yes, it's 118th Place and Crenshaw. Just as you get just before you get to enter the freeway or coming underneath the freeway, right there. Thank you.
Hi.
Yes.
My name is Daphne, and I work for the Department of Veteran Affairs at the Veteran Center on Hendry. And my question is the medical evaluation team. We were told on the Inglewood PD number that the med team has been disbanded for if a person is maybe committing a crime but maybe having a medical emergency. How do we handle that? Because I'm, a little.
Hello. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Unfortunately, the IMED team, I'm part of that also, the Inglewood Mental Evaluation Team, is no longer, but we're going to, per the chief, we're going to get more staff. Unfortunately, at the time, we needed to put the officers back into patrol because we were short-staffed. And actually, the clinician that was working with us, she just got promoted, and she's now a nurse practitioner. So she's working with the homeless and mentally ill out of King Hospital. And so she'll be able to administer medicine in the field. So she's not with us anymore, but hopefully we'll get somebody really soon. But unfortunately, we don't. So you would have to call the PET team, the 800 number for the psychiatric evaluation. Okay? Okay, and you know what, you have Dee Dee Hurst here also, and you have Exodus, and you can call different people to come out. They have independent contractors that work with the county to come out to assess if you have a problem.
On your website, because it's sort of, if in a medical emergency, it's sort of hard to, go to 5 or 6 different locations. So, like I said, I found out this information only through actually having an incident. So if it's possible, if we could get that on the City of Inglewood's website, or then it'll be easily accessible. Thanks.
And I was wondering, can we get some help on Spinning Avenue? Because you can hear them coming from maybe Hudspeth, and children are going to school that time of morning, and they don't stop at the stop sign. You can just hear them going straight. Then we have a problem with parents dropping their kids off, and they're blocking the streets. You can't get through. It's like that in the morning, and it's like that in the afternoon. They will park their car in the middle of the street, drop their kids off, or either go into school and get their kids.
Hold on. Ma'am, do you understand that that school is actually Los Angeles Unified School District? So the Inglewood Police Department will go if we have something going on in the perimeter of the school outside, but when you have to deal with the traffic and the students, that goes through the school police, LA School Police. Not even LAPD, because school police, they have a large department. So LA Unified School Police, okay, if you have questions for them. Right.
Hi, my name is Janice Wilson, and I'm on the spin out issue 2. On 108th and Wilkie, they put up some solar lights. It tricked out the speedsters because they thought they were cameras, so did we. And for weeks, it was so nice. I thought I was living in a different community, on a different block, in a rural area. No sirens, well, the sirens, yeah, but no spin outs. So I know the cameras would work, because when one of them found out that they weren't cameras and told everybody else, then they came back and they started making up for lost time. So we know the cameras do work. If they were real cameras, they stopped our nightmares. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Joan Richardson. I live on a 7th Avenue and on that corner. 10 hours, I doubt if 2 people actually stop at that stop sign. This goes on from early morning when they're taking their kids to school. I see parents with kids in the car flying through the stop sign. There are days when we have to sit on 104th facing north 15 minutes before we can even make a left-hand turn, because it's just a speedway. 104th and 7th Avenue is where that stop sign is. Okay, thank you.
There we go. Thank you so much for that, ma'am. We will, like I said, we have our staff here, so we will conduct some surveys and see what we can do to try and remedy that situation. We're going to move on. Can we give Lieutenant Meeks and our community police liaison, Cinder Eller, a round of applause? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doctor. You guys, you know what? We got to start calling her Doctor. This is, if y'all don't know, this is Dr. Councilwoman. But nobody, says that. But now I want Doctor.
Thank you. Thank you, Cinder. You know I love you. All right, so we are going to move on because we still have some great presentations for you. We're going to move on. I wanted to provide a quick update for Inglewood Unified School District. Some of you have kids or grandkids that are in the district, and so there was a school closing. I want to make sure that you understand where we're at with that and have the most up-to-date information. So we have Dr. Bernadette Lucas here from Inglewood Unified School District. She is our Chief Academic Officer, and she's going to give some updates for you on IUSD. Thank you so much for being here.
Good evening, everyone. As Dr. Faulk shared, I'm the Chief Academic Officer for Inglewood Unified School District, and I do have to share something that you all already know. We have the most brilliant, beautiful, incredible young people in the city of Inglewood, and they deserve the best education that this world has to offer. And this is something you all already know, but it has to be said because it's important that the community knows that we center your children, be them your children, your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephews, your godchildren, what have you. They are the center of our universe. And as such, they deserve an education that prepares reading and math scores. You all know this. I'm not sharing anything you don't know. And so the question from the community to us is, what are you doing about it? And so here are some of the things we're doing about it. Through Dr. Morris's leadership, we're bringing back, how many of you remember open court? Maybe 2 decades ago. It was a very rigorous, prescriptive, research-based reading program. There's a new program in town called CKLA, Common Knowledge Los Angeles Language Arts, forgive me, that is targeted to meeting the needs of young people. It's a very rigorous program. It has the highest reading scores of any program that exists in California right now. And we've already started piloting it in Inglewood Unified School District in 4 of our schools, with an intended rollout next school year in 2024 in all of our transition kindergarten through 8th grade schools, while we focus on literacy and the content areas in our high schools. Literacy is an absolute civil right. If you don't know how to read with proficiency, you all know you don't have access to so much of what life has to offer. Not just in school, but beyond school. Access to university, access to job opportunities, access to travel, access to active participation as a civic member of this society. So we take their literacy very, very, very seriously. What's the next really, really important content area or subject? Mathematics. That's a gateway subject. Of course science is important. Of course social studies is important. Of course art is important. I was an elementary educator, teacher, principal, so on and so forth. All of that is critical. But the 2 subjects that provide access to all other subjects are reading and mathematics. So with math, we are rolling out a new math program in grades transition kindergarten, TK, through 8th grade, with an intense focus on 12th grade math, which leads, of course, to college and university. These 2 new programs are rolling out and are the best in class, because that's what our students deserve. They deserve nothing else. We already know that the equity issues surrounding students of color are really serious and pervasive. And so Inglewood Unified is committed to dismantling a system that was designed to keep access away from Black and Latinx students, among other students. So I feel it important to say that, to be plain about that, to be clear about that, because there's social justice issues associated with education. Additionally, we started this process at Inglewood Unified School District called professional learning communities. For those of you who may not be familiar, this is a very research-based practice that educators engage in when we intensely study our students' data, use that data to make leadership moves around their instruction, change instruction real time to meet the individual needs of all children. It takes a lot of intentional practice, it takes a lot of data study, it takes a lot of accountability, but that is what your children deserve, and that is what we are doing right now. Professional learning communities started last year with an intense implementation this year. We're very proud of how that's going with our classroom teachers, with our site administrators, our counselors, our nurses, so on and so forth. The reason I wanted to highlight these things in particular, because there are specific strategies and programs that we're leveraging to make a difference in your school system. You all pay a lot of money in taxes for a school system that your children deserve, and that is what we're working very, very hard to do. I could really go on all night. I know I shouldn't do that, because I want Dr. Faulk to have us back. But those were the highlights that I wanted to share. If there are any questions, I'm here to answer them. And I want to thank you so much for listening to me with such an open heart and open ears.
Let me see. Do we have any questions for Dr. Lucas at all, Inglewood Unified School District? Are we good? It looks like we're good. Okay. You're off the hook. Bye. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you. All right. All right. Now, we have an exciting update that is happening right here in our district. We have Hollywood Park. The development that is happening, retail spaces. You're hearing about new storefronts coming up and different businesses moving in over there. And I know you're all wondering, well, what's really going on? Who's over there? What's open? What's not open? Any celebrities moving in? What is the deal? So you're going to get the deal right here, right now. So I'm going to bring up Aaron Curry, who is the man of the hour over there. He's going to let you know what is really going on. He actually, I'm hoping that he might share a little secret. He shared a little something with me that was really interesting, and I'm really excited about it. And I don't know if he's able to share it. I hope, and he knows what I'm talking about too. So please, please, please welcome Aaron Curry from Hollywood Park. He is our development manager over there.
So much for having me. Thank you, Councilwoman, for having me. I really appreciate the time, and yes, I think we can break a little bit of news with what's coming, and I'm going to have to wing it a little bit. My plan was to just ask who's been to or knows that Sinopolis is open, and the mayor took care of that for me. So I think I saw a lot of hands go up, but my name's Aaron Curry, and for the last 6 years I've worked on Hollywood Park retail development right across, actually right next door to where we are right now. And so Sinopolis being kind of the first landmark tenant to open, but it's really just the very beginning of what we think will be the most impactful experiential and just retail destinations in all of Southern California, but probably beyond. And so a lot of people assume that this is going to be strictly beneficial to stadium traffic and concerts, and that's something I think that will be benefited. But what we really wanted to do was bring in tenants and uses that are going to be impactful for the community as it is today and in the future. And so part of it is being a platform for some exciting local businesses and local brands that you'd be familiar with. And then also to bring in a lot of brands and operators that for whatever reason are not currently existing in the immediate vicinity of where we are today. So Sinopolis is just kind of the precursor to a lot. I'm, take a lot of pride in that personally, just because I think Sinopolis is the nicest theater experience in all of Los Angeles, if not beyond. And I think it's something to be proud of. We always run into yeah, absolutely. Part of the assumptions that we run into, which I'm sure may not be surprising, is that what we're creating is a discount project because people have notions of Inglewood or think they know something about the community, and that's not what we're trying to create at all. We're trying to create the most amazing experience for the residents, bring in world-class brands, world-class operators that really care about how they present their brands and products and how they interact with the community. And then obviously we've got the backstop of some of the world's most impactful events. Obviously Super Bowl was here a couple of years ago. There's some more big events upcoming at SoFi Stadium, and then we do a little bit of work with the Intuit Dome across the street that you'll hear a little bit more about later. So I just wanted to introduce myself. I think, yeah, Sinopolis, again, was a large tenant opening, but that's just one tenant out of about, what you'll see is about 300,000 square feet of retail development. So comparison-wise, it'll be almost or similarly sized to the Grove, if you're familiar with that. A lot of restaurants spread throughout the entirety of the project. You may not know, lesser known, but I think equally impactful as Sinopolis is we just opened a residency art gallery, which actually was an existing art gallery in Inglewood already. This is their second location. They opened about 3 weeks ago. But they platform, minority artists and local artists from the community. They've been they've gotten very popular since opening within Hollywood Park, but they're ultimately going to be participating in some of the major art festivals across the world this year. So we're excited to have their second location, and then by the end of the year, you'll have a fitness center that I think is going to be similarly to Sinopolis, again, the nicest fitness center I think for at least miles, certainly, but I think a price point that's actually not going to be astronomical. And so we're excited for Iconics to open up. Three Weavers is another local business that, if you know Three Weavers and Lynn Weaver Brewery, that was actually the very first lease we signed. So while we were getting approached by all the national beer sponsors that you can think about, it was more important for us to emphasize the local business and an operator that was currently operating in Inglewood. So a lot of businesses like that will be platformed. We'll bring in some new and exciting concepts. One's called Cosm, you may have heard a little bit about. There's a certain ice cream, actually this is a helpful slide to see. And I apologize if it's a little tough, but what we're talking about is the lower left-hand corner. The green buildings is what's built out there right now. And sorry, forgive me for asking again. Can I just see a quick hands? Has anyone seen a movie or had a drink at Sinopolis yet? Highly encourage it. They are incredible partners. This is their most important theater in their entire portfolio. We got the numbers back from their first month of sales, and they were excellent. So I appreciate all of you supporting. I would encourage you to continue supporting because, again, I think this is the nicest theater experience, potentially or debatably in California, but I think it means a lot for it to be centered right here in Inglewood. But all of those buildings in green are what's built today. Some of the orange buildings right next to it are what's coming up in the near future. And we're really, really excited because, again, a lot of these are going to be some impactful uses that you might not assume. It's not just going to be a bunch of restaurants and sporting goods stores to benefit a Rams game or a Chargers game. We have a lot that's actually going to be meant to integrate the community on a day-in, day-out basis. So I expect, Tuesday for morning coffee, Hollywood Park should be just as vibrant as it is, after a Rams game or before, or at least similarly vibrant. And I think we can just click through a couple of these. These are real images. And it lays out a little bit of the development. It's open right now. Again, we only have 2 operating tenants right now, but if you think about it over the course of the next calendar year or so, we should have several more stores, restaurants, experiences opening up. And definitely encourage you all to walk around, come see some of the community space. We were doing fitness classes on the basketball court during the weekends. There's going to be a lot to do there. That's not just about the event traffic as well. And then I'll just pause briefly on the Cosm, just because it's the next one. Yeah, a couple slides in. Iconic. So I'll stop right here for just a moment, just because this one's so hard to describe for me. The closest thing I can compare it to from an experience standpoint, and it's one that we're very excited. This is another concept, first of its kind, first ever anywhere in the world. The closest thing to it is, have you seen the Sphere in Las Vegas, that kind of giant ball of light? So this is not going to be at that level where it's just LED glowing all night, so don't worry about that. But what it is a 3-story, think of an IMAX screen that curves over the audience. So if you wanted to go watch a Lakers game or a Clippers game but couldn't get tickets, but you wanted to have that, call it a sports experience, a shared experience with friends and family, you can get a little table or I don't want to call it a sports bar, but it is the most premium sporting or entertainment experience you can have without going to the venue itself. That's under construction right now with us. Again, this will be the first one anywhere in the world. I think they're opening up in Dallas shortly after Inglewood opens. And then another couple of major cities, major markets. But this is going to be another feature that's not necessarily just sports or entertainment too. There's a huge educational component that I think would be beneficial to IUSD and to a lot of other local organizations because the technology behind this company is incredible. So this screen is going to be, I think it's going to be 16K, which doesn't quite exist yet. But it's going to be the clearest picture you've ever seen. One of the coolest experiences that I've gotten to see firsthand in their kind of test facility. So I encourage you to look forward to that. We're targeting a May 2024 opening for that, as well as several other businesses and stores and restaurants coming online then. So I'll pause there, or I'll stop there. If there are any questions, happy to answer those. But yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah.
Are you able to share anything?
Yes, sorry, yeah.
Yeah,
I was
okay,
going to let you break the news.
Yeah.
So, again, I mentioned a couple of the businesses, and a few of them, one of them that we're very excited about is a certain ice cream concept with a former supermodel who was born and raised in Inglewood, and it just so happens to be Tyra Banks is going to be opening her first ice cream store right next door. We've got she'll be right kind of pretty close to the theater, so we'll have movies and ice cream in pretty short order. We do have a beauty concept. If you're familiar with the kind of salon suites of the world, this one is partially owned by LL Cool J as well, so there will be a little bit of celebrity crossover. And then we've got some national retail stores that are coming in be it from a clothing standpoint, and then actually a couple local sneaker stores that are coming in as well. And then a pretty popular restaurant out of downtown LA that we're really excited. I can't quite leak that information yet, but there's going to be a lot to do at Hollywood Park in the very near future. So yeah, I would encourage everyone to keep coming back. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Hi. That's what I wanted to ask you about the retail stores and approximately when it's going to open, because I've been waiting to go shopping.
No, we are pushing as hard as we can to get it open. So technically, yes, it's open now with the theater and some of the outdoor space. But we think we'll have some stores that are going to be opening their doors for business by summer of 2024, and then ongoingly from there. So if you give it about a year and a half, it'll start to feel a little bit more full. We started leasing and we started construction actually during the pandemic in January of 2020. And so there certainly were challenges as far as getting retailers and stores to open coming out of the backside of the pandemic. But ultimately, we feel like we're in a really good spot, and we're really, most importantly, we're excited about the brands that are coming in because they really value Inglewood as it is today, but also see the value in what this city and site means to their, obviously, businesses and brands. So, absolutely. No, it's off. Yeah.
Hello. First, I want to thank the Councilwoman for the excellent thrashing, the paper thrashing that went on at Inglewood High School. I want to thank you very much for that. That was a wonderful thing. I'm sure there will be others, but it was a big help. Thank you very much for that. And a question to you, how do you get into the place? I want to take a tour. I want to know how there's so many interests and large interests. How can I just go? How can I just take my wife somewhere and go and just tour the place? How can I get up? I don't know. I don't go to the games. I don't know all of that. But how can we get up or make an appointment?
I got it. Cool. Yeah. That's a great question. So the short answer is it's open to the public. So a lot of the park space is open now. So feel free to drive in and walk around the lake and even up close to the stadium. It's open on a non-event day. If you want to walk through the retail, I'll give you my business card right after this, and we can do a walk around the retail district so you can so I can point out what's upcoming. But yeah, we would love to have you there. It is open to the public now, and we'll have more stores opening and more restaurants opening in pretty short order. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Lynn Jacobs, and I am interested in, will the seniors and Inglewood residents showing their ID get any special discounts at the bars and restaurants? I love feeling special.
Oh, sorry. Cool. Yeah, very good question, and the short answer is yes. Right now, so I know the mayor kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier, but just to reiterate, Tuesday nights are Sinopolis at the movie theater, which is right now one of the only 2 tenants open. But the movie theater has half off movie tickets, and it's happy hour, I believe, all day Tuesday. Then right next door, so if you were to go to a movie next Tuesday night, you'll see Iconics, which is our gym, our fitness center, doing pre-member sales right now. So if you did want to sign up for the fitness center, Inglewood residents get a discounted rate for signing up early. And again, that gym should be open by end of December this year. So those are a couple things that I know of now, and then I think ongoingly, yeah, absolutely. We encourage every one of our partners to make it viable and encourage local Inglewood residents to come and frequent the site. Yes.
Thank you for that question. That was a great question.
Hello, my name is Alex, and I guess I have more of a pleading request than a question, but anything that you can do in terms of getting vegan options in there or restaurants that have vegan options that would be helpful and great for a lot of us, and really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Oh, sorry.
Hi, I'm Melody. I have a question about the parkings. Are they going to be free for residents that just come during the day to grab a coffee, for example? And the other thing is the parking at SoFi, when nothing is happening and we just want to go have a walk, all the parking lots are closed and we have to just park in the side streets. Is there a way that we can leave at least 1 or 2 parking lots just open for people to just go and park?
Yes, another good question. And so for the retail, yes, we are analyzing the parking right now. One of the challenges is obviously on an event day, everything gets a little bit trickier. But on a non-event day, we are working and we'll have a grace period, an element of, if you're just grabbing coffee, you don't need to pay to park. And we've got parking structure that, again, even on an event day, retail parking, Sinopolis's parking is all separate from stadium parking. So to answer that question, yes. And then I think speaking to the stadium lots on a non-event day, there are several that are open now. Sometimes it can move around a little bit, but they, I think the most frequent lot is parking lot N, which is on the west side of the property. So by the it's not always. Sometimes it changes from time to time. So I apologize based on whatever may or may not be happening on the site. But yeah, there should be a lot or two open on generally any day. But yeah, we'll try and get some clarity on that for you as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Testing. You spoke extensively on the retail, but you haven't said, unless I missed it, the residential. How many units are there? How is that going to impact the traffic, especially in the morning and evenings when people come home? And I've toured it. The rents are probably what I bring home in a month. And is there any low-income housing or medium or moderate income housing in there? And if you can just elaborate on how many units there are and how that's going to affect the traffic in that community. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I work on the retail specifically, so but we obviously have a lot of coordination with the residential, and part of that is to answer the unit count question. We've got about 314 apartment units have been built so far. A little less than half of those are open right now. The second building, the Wesley is open currently. The Crosby is the second building that actually sits right there, basically on Hardy and Prairie. That'll open, I think, before the end of the year. And so from a traffic standpoint, I mean, we did our best to control or contain all of the parking for residential guests within the footprints of each of those buildings. So those won't ever be, borrowing spaces or requiring stadium parking lots to park the residents. And then, yes, as far as the rental structure, there isn't affordable housing in those developments, and part of that predates, a development agreement that's almost 20 years old at this point. But there is an opportunity potentially, but those two residents, as far as I know, are not affordable now.
And then we're going to take our last question because we.
This is to piggyback off of what Melody was talking about in the parking. I mean, if you're going to have retail, you have movie theaters, you have restaurants. I mean, if I just want to go over there and just spend my whole afternoon taking in a movie, having something to eat, browsing through stores, do I have to have validation from each one of those venues I visit? Or do I just have to make sure my time is not running over 3 hours?
We would love it if you spent more than 3 hours there. So I think, and I think that's certainly the goal. Part of what we want to do, and when there are more operators open, and depending on what you're there for, we will revisit the parking as we roll out more tenants and kind of more entertainment opportunities. And so, yeah, the goal is to be on, you won't have to validate every single one. I mean, again, we'll have, effectively a beauty salon, right? And depending on what you're having done, it could be, you could be there for, 30 minutes, or you could be there for 4 hours, 5 hours. So I don't think you won't have to validate at multiple places. And so part of it is a case study right now with just the few tenants open, but ultimately, yeah, we'll have a validation that allows guests to kind of spend more than just 3 hours walking around.
When we can go over there, do I need to repeat the question? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, what I was asking is, will that information, once it's rolled out, be distributed through the residences so that we would know and we don't go and get caught with having to pay a high parking bill, thinking that, we won't have to?
Yes, we'll definitely, to answer that piece of it, yes, we'll definitely start marketing and ultimately, yeah, making sure that the parking access is very clear, especially to the residents. But in general, as guests that are coming to the retail district, we'll make sure that the parking is clear and concise. But again, yeah, we don't want people paying crazy parking fees to come and have a nice day or a nice afternoon or evening at the project. So that's ultimately, yeah, we will do our best to make sure that that's clear.
All right, let's give it up for Aaron Curry. Thank you so much, Aaron. So we will, Aaron, you have to promise you're going to come back, because you see we have a lot of questions for you. But when you come back, you got to have answers to our questions next time. So he's taking notes and he's trying to address some of those questions that you guys had, especially around parking, around the residences, around traffic. So we'll have more concise answers for you when he comes back and presents. So, and I'll be pushing behind closed doors to make sure that our residents have benefits, better benefits, like with parking, discounts, and all of that information. And I will try and see if I can put together some kind of cheat sheet for our residents that, if you are attending Sinopolis for the movie or something, have the cheat sheet information where it's like on Tuesdays at this time, you'll have special discounts. You'll have to bring your identification and show that you're an Inglewood resident. But then once you do that, then you'll be able to access more discounts. So we're pushing behind the scenes for that for our residents, okay? All right. Next up, we have our Director of Public Works. He actually has two titles. He's also our Assistant City Manager, but we have Louis Atwell. And this is the man that makes sure that the lights are on, the streets are paved, and the trees are cut. All of, Louis. Louis. You're in trouble. You're in trouble, Louis. All right, well, here he goes. But I'm excited because I was elected in 2020, November 2020. And so it was a lot to learn to be able to become an active and confident city council member. One of the things that I've been pushing for District 4 residents behind closed doors is to beautify our district. And so one of the main things that he and I talk a lot about is to beautify Crenshaw Boulevard. So we're working on that. He's going to give an update for you, but I'm pushing. I want to have a beautiful city. I go to other cities and I'm like, man, we need this, we need that, we need this, we need that. So I'll pick up the phone and I'll call this man right here, and we're working, trying to make it happen, y'all. So here we go, Louis Atwell.
Great. Thank you very much. Hopefully I don't have to flip the switch too much. First of all, I'd like to, I see the councilwoman's husband here, Mr. Faulk, and her two sons. They're such good kids. Every time they're here to support their wife and mom. But no, the councilwoman's right. She pushes very, very hard You see Century Boulevard? Well, we're trying to replicate Century Boulevard on Crenshaw as well, if not even better. And you'll see some pictures that we'll bring up. By the way, I'd also like to mention, how many here think that the majority of people running stop signs actually live in the area that they're running the stop signs? They do. Actually, they do. The majority that run the stop signs in the residential neighborhoods actually live in those residential neighborhoods, unfortunately. So if you see that, please call the police department. Let them know about what time you see the majority of people running the stop signs, and I bet you their behavior will change over time. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and present. I either use my glasses or I use the screen in the back. So Crenshaw Boulevard. We're going to rehabilitate Crenshaw Boulevard from the 105 freeway all the way to Century Boulevard. That's phase one. Phase two, we take it all the way to the top of the city. And with that, we're going to replace all the pavement. We're going to work on the sidewalks, make them ADA compatible. We're going to change out the traffic signals to make them LED, and also where we can communicate with the traffic signals remotely. So the lettering's it's really small. I can't see it from up there, but these are the traffic signals that we're going to be changing and making them brand new. And we're also going to be doing what they call channelizers in some of the areas where I believe at 100 and, let me see if I can get my notes. I can't remember things like some of these other people up here. The channelizers are where you can make left turns at the concrete islands, and people can't come out and make a left turn from certain areas. And that's at Imperial Plaza, at the CVS store, 109th and Crenshaw, and 111th Place. The reason why we do that is because when cars come out to make a left turn, they cause accidents, especially when they're crossing 5 lanes of traffic. So we had major issues there in the past. We're going to change that now. Next slide. This is what Crenshaw is going to look like. We're going to put in the nice palm trees with uplighting so you can see them at night, and they'll look great during the day. We're also going to provide shrubbery and also some drought-tolerant vegetation as well. And then the existing trees, we have ficus trees out there. People don't like ficus trees because they're very, very aggressive. They do essentially attack sewer systems and sidewalks. But we can't go out and cut them all down. That would not be good. So what we're doing is we did a survey. There are some trees that are either dying, they're older, but we're going to try and retain as much as possible. They're a great shade tree. They're just very aggressive. But we're going to provide uplighting there too, so it'll look great at night. So I'm switching gears now from one big project. By the way, Crenshaw Boulevard, we should start construction in April of next year, and it's about a 15-month project, so bear with us. These projects they're like surgery, they're painful, but when they're done, they're great. So it's going to be a little bit painful. The District 4 Community Center, this was a big push by the Councilwoman. It's a great meeting space for the folks in District 4, and it's an interesting project. There is some asbestos that we have to remove. We're going to construct new flooring, new ceilings, a new ceiling, new paint, and also there's a reclaimed wood wall that's going to look very, very nice. The Councilwoman picked that out. And also a new storage room. Installation of 2 new large screen LEDs and new furniture throughout. And this is over at the Crenshaw Imperial Plaza. And it's about $117,000, and construction will start next month. Next slide. And I don't know if anybody here is from Darby-Dixon area, but there's one parking lot that is older, it doesn't hold very many cars, and one is just a dirt lot. And we held a community meeting down there, and the Councilwoman had the idea of turning one of the dirt lots into a parking lot, and then the other one updating it so it's ADA compatible, and we can add additional parking spaces. So we're going to construct the new parking lot, we're going to widen the existing one, provide more capacity for it, make it ADA compatible, and also provide solar lighting for safety, and we'll have 32 parking spots down there, and that area really, really needs it. It's difficult to create new parking. As everybody knows here, there's the accessory building units. People are converting their garages. By doing that, they add additional cars to these homes, so our streets are very, very at high capacity. There's not enough capacity left. But anyway, this project actually started today, and we should be finished by December. Next slide, Malcolm, please. And this is what it looks like. It has the diagonal stalls, which provides more parking, and also one-way through traffic on both sides. Next. And then this is a great project. This is for the residential neighborhoods. It's our annual street and alley projects. What we typically do is we'll do the majority of the streets and alleys in the northern part of the city, and then the next year we'll switch it to the southern part of the city. And by doing that, we get better economies of scale. The contractor doesn't have to bounce around. He focuses in one area. And this year, it's the Councilwoman's area, or your area. So we'll be repairing or replacing about 20,000 square feet of sidewalk, 30 new ADA. We focus quite a bit on the ADA sidewalks and the ramps. We'll be slurry sealing, or we'll be putting in new pavement for about 3.5 miles of streets. And we expect to start in January of next year. It gets a little bit difficult around the holiday season, especially with the rains. So January all the way through spring and summer is when we do most of our work. And that's it for capital projects. Thank you.
On our video. Yes, if you don't mind.
Take note.
Hi. You answered my question about the road. But we have another problem at that same intersection. Going north on Crenshaw, and you're trying to make a left turn on 111th Place, or you're trying to make a left turn on Thoreau, big problem. You need some turning signals there also, because when you're making a left turn on either of those streets, you really can't see the cars that are coming.
Camera one. You ready? Hi, everyone. Mrs. Latham again. At the last meeting, I had called your office to tell them that I did not want trees planted in front of my house. Well, the paint that they put in there to mark for the 2 trees has been there ever since you guys spread around. So my question is, when are you guys going to come by and take that paint off, because I can't get it off?
Mrs. Latham, can I meet with you afterwards and get your address again and make sure that happens?
We're going to take care of you, Mrs. Latham.
You're saying you're going in the alleys, and you're going to do this in the alleys. When are we going to see our streets are cracking? We need help. Evidently, Inglewood is we are under oil, because when I first moved to Inglewood 57 years ago, they were getting oil from under my house. So when are we going to talk about paving the avenues? When are we going to talk about that?
That's a great question, and we're going to be paving most of them this year.
Wait a minute, that's all we get?
Okay, my question is about tree trimming. In the past, Inglewood used to trim all the trees in the neighborhoods, go around trimming all the trees in the neighborhood. They did it religiously. And then it slowed down to where you had each individual had to call in to get that tree trimmed. Now, if you call in, it's maybe. I've been trying to get my tree trimmed for 4 years, and it hasn't been trimmed yet. Now, I have a magnolia tree. It sheds during the summer. The leaves just fall down and just cover everything. So I got tired of putting them in my trash can, so since the tree belongs to the city, I give the leaves to the city. I put them out there for the street sweeper can just take them on. But still, I have to rake them up. But I need the tree trimmed. But right now, they're not falling because it's going into fall. When will we get back on track as far as doing something for the citizens as far as trimming the trees in this city? Now, I was told there are only 6 individuals to trim trees in this city. Only 6. Am I right or wrong?
No. So we actually have many, many crews that come to the city. And I'm going to tell you some great news, and this is up to the councilwoman. We're coming to council to essentially raise the tree trimming contract by almost $1 million more. We just passed an urban forest management plan yesterday, actually. Yes. Yesterday. And this plan will allow for tree trimming throughout the city on a regular basis. It actually targets certain trees like magnolia trees or ficus trees to be trimmed more often versus other trees. So we have finally, under the councilwoman, we have finally got our you-know-what together, and you're going to see tree trimming go on constantly within the city of Inglewood. I can guarantee you that. I don't know if you want to.
Again, we don't get a or nothing. Just no, no smile, no nothing.
Is she talking to me? Oh. I'm here because we had the rains the first part of this year. In our alley, the cement and everything else is buckled up. And at the last meeting here, I was told that they're going to come and resurface the alley. Well, we still waiting. And some people cannot get in their garage because of the buckle up in the alley from the rains this year. So can I get an answer on when that's going to be taken care of?
So is your alley spinning?
Right, between spinning.
I believe it's on the list to do this year. Am I right? So expect it to be done within the next 8 months under the Streets and Alleys project. Thank you.
Hello. So my name is Alex, and I have spoken with you before, Louis. Thank you so much for fixing the bracket outside of the apartment that was making a loud noise. So yeah, we live right in front of Century Boulevard. Our window is right there, and it feels more like a highway. And my request to council members is to consider making sure that we don't have more than 2 lanes for cars, or turning that extra lane into a bus lane, considering all of the SoFi Stadium traffic we're trying to solve and the transit project. I think this is so important because it's a racial issue, because in all the communities of color, that's where the lanes widen up to 3 from 2 to 3, and you notice that, and in the different cities, and we have decades and decades of data that prove this, that, it's the traffic safety is a racial issue as well. So, for the past 15 years, many cities in California have been upgrading their streets to be more safe, and we have been left behind on that. So 15 years, we've been kind of waiting for some change, but we still have the same streets. And Inglewood is actually the city that is turning me into a traffic safety advocate because it's just so bad. And we cannot keep using the police as an excuse not to fix this, because the driver's behavior is due to the street designs. So we need the traffic engineers to go back to the drawing board. The police cannot stay in these intersections forever. So the problem is never going to be fixed by the police. And let's see what else I have here on my notes. So that's it. That's all I'm really asking for is some road diets and, things like bulb outs and bike lanes. We need bike lanes too, please. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Lisa Flanori, and I have 3 items. My 3 items are the electrical billboard that is on Crenshaw Boulevard, south of Manchester, the trash receptacles that are on Prairie, and the light coordination between Manchester and Arbor Vitae, between Pinkai, and on Pinkai. My first issue is the light board that is south of Manchester on Crenshaw. There are no reflectors that are at the base of that device, and it has a large presence in the middle of the intersection, and it's an accident waiting to happen. Hopefully, with some of the tree trimming that you mentioned, that will allow for the lighting to illuminate the area. But if you're traveling at dark, when it's late at night, when there's not many cars on the street, or if you're someone like me who leaves very early for work in the morning, it's very dark around there and cars come speeding down the street because there's no traffic, and a lot of visitors are not aware of the base that's in the middle of the street. The second one that I mentioned, the trash receptacles. The trash receptacles on Prairie are very nice, but they're not adequate. They're too small for the area, and they're more like something you would have in your home or your backyard. In replacement of that, some Home Depot-looking black trash cans have been placed on the street, which we were told were temporary, but they've been there for longer than 8 months. And even with them being there next to these other ones that do not meet the specifications, they're not emptied on a regular basis. And I know that the council office has assisted me in trying to get them emptied more often because we've had that conversation about it. But if you could ask your staff to look at the trash cans and replace them and give us something that will work. The biggest problem with the smaller ones, no matter how many times they are emptied, is that there's a rail that goes over the top of it, and it prevents large items from being thrown away. The majority of the people that walk that route to the game are either eating or drinking something, and the opening is not large enough to receive their refuse. Then with the signals that I mentioned between Manchester and Arbor Vitae, which what I'm familiar with on Prairie and on Pinkai, I've talked to Lieutenant Meek about it several times, because what happens is after events, the lights are never turned back the right way. They're either stuck on red or they're blinking, and when people are trying to get to work in the morning, you can't get through the traffic. I sat at the light at Prairie and Pinkai for 10 minutes before the light changed, and then I sat at the light not at Arbor Vitae, but one north of Arbor Vitae in traffic because it just sat there and blinked. And I'm sorry, another thing that I just thought of right now I want to mention, where the 7-Eleven is at Arbor Vitae and Prairie on the northwest corner, they receive their deliveries in the morning, and they have very large trucks that bring their beverages, and they park in the right-hand turn lane of traffic to unload their truck because it does not fit into their parking lot, and it causes a traffic hazard. You can't see around their truck to pedestrians that are in the crosswalk, and you can't negotiate a right-hand turn there safely because they're parked there. So if someone could please look into these things, I'd really appreciate them. Like I said, I've spoken with the council office, and the councilwoman has attempted to help me in the past, but these things continue to exist. Supposed to turn this off or something?
Thank you for your comments. What time was the truck there? Was it like 7 a.m. or so, or earlier? Okay.
Thursday from 6 a.m.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, I think that's it.
Thank you.
You got a list.
Yeah, I do.
I know,
Thank you
right?
very much.
Thank you. Can you guys please give it up for Louis Atwell? Man, you guys gave him a long list of stuff. Okay, we're gonna get to it though. There's a lot of work to be done, but we're up for the job. We'll get it done. Okay. Next up, I know it's a lot of presentations. We're gonna try and get through it. We only have, I believe, 2 more. So I'm going to ask Bridget Calderon to come on up. But while she's coming up, I want to announce to you that our residential sound division is still open for business. If you have not connected with Betty Griffith, our manager in residential sound, to see if you qualify, to see if your home qualifies for the, Betty, can you please stand up? There she is. So if you have not connected with her, I urge you to make your way over there and see if you qualify for the residential sound program to get your windows and doors updated. So connect with her, and she has a list of homes that qualify. See if you're on the list. I'm telling you, it's like winning the lottery if you are. It really is. So she'll be here. Please connect with her and her team. Or if for some reason you miss her, feel free to reach out to Malcolm tomorrow, and he'll get you in contact with Betty Walker, okay? Okay, now we have Bridget Calderon. She is the representative for the Intuit Dome. And she's going to give some brief updates on what's happening with the Intuit Dome. And I keep asking her, what's up with them season passes? When are we going to release it? I know that there's a few of us that are interested. So she's going to give us all kinds of updates on the Intuit Dome coming to town, our new neighbor.
I'm a little short, so I have to adjust it. Good evening, everyone. I know the councilwoman has mentioned the season tickets. I have some information if anyone is interested in contacting somebody to get season tickets. So my name is Bridget Calderon. I am the Director of Community Engagement for Urban Semillas. Urban Semillas is a consulting firm. We specialize in community engagement, community outreach. We have various projects throughout LA County, but more importantly, I'm part of the community engagement team for Intuit Dome. First slide. So as far as, we do our best to keep engaged with the community, but also it's very important to keep engaged with our construction workers, specifically our local hire. So in September, we had a local hire mixer that our AECOM Turner joint venture team and also PDA Consultings, they are the ones that oversee the local hire process for Intuit Dome. And so we did a mixer, and as a special guest, we had Mr. Steve Ballmer there. So that's the picture that you see at the top. And then also we were at the Century Heights Neighborhood Watch Association event. I see some of our folks here today. Thank you so much to them. They've made sure that we're invited every year and that we go and be a part of that. So thank you to you all again. And also we were at the City of Inglewood National Voter Registration Day. That's something that our city clerk, Aisha Thompson, put together. And then our last picture is at the Hispanic Heritage Festival. At the festival, we were there along with the Clippers team and also our Vision to Learn vehicle that provided free eye exams to the community. And so this is a sample of our construction notice. So these notices are distributed to over 1,000 residents that live in the surrounding area of the project. It includes any information that might affect traffic, any street closures. So they are distributed the week before for the following week. So the residents are up to date on, if they need to go another way, just so they're not stuck in traffic. So we try to keep that communication going, and we've been doing that at least for the last 3 years or so. So that happens every week. Next slide. And these are just some of the events that we're going to be doing some outreach at. It's very important for our team to be present in as many events as possible. It provides an opportunity for our team to talk to the community, but more importantly, it provides the community a way to give us some feedback, some comments, questions, anything that you guys might have. And communication. So we have our website, that's www.buildintoadome.com. On there, we have any community events that we might be having, our blog post, and also our community meetings. So our next community meeting is Thursday, November 2nd at 6 p.m. And those meetings are at Dolores Huerta Elementary School. The councilwoman always makes it a point to come to our meetings, so we really appreciate her support on that. And this is going to be our last community meeting for the year, so if anybody wants to come out to that. And then last, I have some renderings of Intuit Dome. So the picture on the left is of the corner of Century and Prairie. You'll see the pedestrian bridge, the outdoor plaza, the outdoor basketball courts, and also the big screen. So besides the 18,000-seat arena, it will also house the Clippers corporate offices and also their practice facility. So it'll all be in one location. To the right, you'll see one of the Prairie Avenue entrances. So the fans will be able to just go up the escalator and go inside the arena. Next slide. And then on the left is what it would look like on Century Boulevard. And then where it says Intuit Dome, that would be the view from Prairie Avenue. And so some of our construction updates, we just finished a few weeks ago the pouring of the concrete floor. So there was 20,000 square feet poured on to the main basketball court and also the main floor. And then also the Intuit Dome sign above the arena was also completed. So people will be able to take a look at that once they're flying over the city. And that's about it. Does anybody have any questions? Oh.
Hi, I just want to know if the parking lot that has been built on the other side of Prairie, is that the only parking lot that's going to be for Intuit Dome, or is there going to be more parking lots for cars in that area?
Is it on? That is our main parking lot, the one on the other side where the Starbucks is. Is that the one that you're referring to? Yes. There'll be another parking lot built on Century Boulevard across the way from the casino here. I don't know if you've seen that construction. That will also be some additional parking, but that'll be our main parking lot, yes.
Can you tell them how many parking spots are in that parking lot?
There, I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but I believe it's over 5,000 parking spots. And I could double check on that for you.
All right. Any other questions for Bridget? All right. Thank you. Please
Thank
give it
you.
up for
Thank you
Bridget.
so much.
Thank you, honey. Mwah. Okay. I'll see you soon. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. And actually, that was a great question because you talked about parking, traffic. So that leads us into our final presentation for this evening. We have Carly Katona from the ITC project. Anybody know a little bit of something about the ITC project that's happening? So I know some of you have some questions and maybe some concerns, but Carly is here to answer those questions and give you an update and let you know what's happening with the ITC. So please come on up, Carly. Thank you so much for being here. All right, let's give her a hand.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilwoman. I have to tell you, I am just honored to be here, and I am so impressed with you too, because I'm going to go home and tell my 8 and 10-year-old how impressive you two were listening to all of these presentations. Really a pleasure to be here. I'm going to keep it really short and sweet. I know that I'm the last thing between you and a good night's sleep or dinner or whatever it is, but on behalf of Trifiletti Consulting, really honored to be able to work with the city. Prior to joining Trifiletti Consulting, I worked with the 2nd District of the County of Los Angeles, representing Inglewood for over 15 years, so I'm grateful to see Alfonso here representing still. So thank you for your ongoing support, your office's ongoing support. Who knows what the Inglewood Transit Connector is? Anyone? Okay, good. Well, what is it? Real quick. A train. Where is it going? Okay, I'm done. No. Okay, next slide, please. So I think actually a lot of the stuff that we talked about tonight, concerns with congestion, not enough parking, a desire to go to all of the new assets like the Intuit Dome and Sinopolis that are coming to Inglewood, I think the city recognizes, and the mayor talked about this at the very beginning, there's so many assets that have now come to Inglewood. We want the Inglewood residents to be able to benefit from those assets, and we want tax dollars and other resources coming in from across the county and the state and the country, but we don't necessarily want the congestion and traffic that those people bring. So we'd like the parking lots reserved for Inglewood residents, and we'd like people from across the region to be able to use transit. So the Inglewood Transit Connector will connect from the Metro line all the way to the new venues with a stop across from the Forum and another stop that will serve both SoFi and the Intuit Dome. And the goal is to be able to move millions of people that are coming into the city and allow them to leave their cars at home. And there's just tremendous environmental impacts, air quality impacts, job creation, and improving the quality of life of the residents of Inglewood is ultimately the goal of the city in championing this project. Take the next slide. I can't see it, it's so far away, so hopefully I know. We've made great progress. So the project started out, maybe 5 or 6 years ago as an idea, but it's a $2 billion investment in this community. It takes a lot of work to be able to move it from idea to reality. The first stage is to look at all of the environmental impacts of the project and make sure that it does good and that there aren't adverse environmental impacts that can't be addressed. So that process, a very thorough process we go through in compliance with state and federal law. That work has been done. We updated our environmental documents based on feedback we heard from the community earlier this year. There was concerns about co-locating the maintenance and storage facility at the Vaughn's location on Manchester. We heard the community, we changed the plans, Vaughan stays as it is, and the maintenance and storage facility will move to the Market Street station. Yay, I'll take that, thank you. In terms of governance, we've set up a single purpose entity, a joint powers authority between Metro and the city of Inglewood that is solely dedicated to overseeing this project. They can focus just on overseeing the design, construction, financing, operation, and maintenance of the project. As I mentioned, it's a $2 billion project. Infrastructure is not cheap. It's expensive. Concrete's expensive. It's just, this is a project that's lasting generations. I think that the city is very proud that all of the funding that has been secured thus far has not been general fund dollars from the city. And thanks to the councilwoman and the mayor and all of the leadership, we've been successful in drawing down state and federal and other local funds to be able to support this effort. So we really thank the senator and the assemblywoman that were here today who have been such big advocates. Our big ask now is to secure funding from the federal government, and we are asking them for $1.2 billion, or 60% of the costs, to be able to make this happen. It will not happen without the federal government. So we're doing a bunch of make-ready work. We're designing utility relocations, and you may have seen some work on Manchester because SoCal Gas was updating a 100-year-old pipeline to make a new pipeline, understanding that this work is moving forward. But at the end of the day, I just ask if you want parking lots reserved for you and not for folks coming into the city, if you want to give Lewis less of a hard time because the streets are in bad condition, because the roads are so frequently trafficked, just pray or do whatever you do to help us get this federal funding, because really it's a make or break situation for the project if we can get the federal funding or not. So I'll take the next slide. The city has pre-qualified 3 teams that are expected to bid on the project. So the system is a little different than the K line, the Metro line. It's an automated people mover. It moves faster and it can carry more people, because we are designing this to be able to serve up to 11,000 people per hour. We got to move a lot of people at the end of a Rams or a Chargers game, and that's really why this technology was selected. So these are the 3 different technologies that are now pre-qualified as part of 3 teams that are expected to bid on the project. We've been working with these 3 teams for the past year, and they are prepared to respond to a solicitation that will be finalized and released, we anticipate next month, to be able to move forward with the project. Next slide. So this is just a snapshot of, we go through a very, very rigorous process to be able to get that federal funding that I mentioned. And so we have secured over $860 million, no city general funds being used, and we hope to be able to bring in the additional funds necessary to fully fund the project. But it's a big year for us in terms of advancing that goal. Next slide. Malcolm told me I had to be super quick. I'm under my 5 minutes. So we are committed to engaging the community in a number of different ways. At the end of the day, the project has to be built by the community. It has to serve the community. We have an expectation that 16% of all contract dollars will go to disadvantaged business enterprises. We have a goal of 30% of those dollars going to small minority women vet-owned businesses. So we have an event next week at the Senior Center on the 25th, really to engage disadvantaged business enterprises in the opportunities that are available through the project. We also have goals. We have a partnership with the trades. We expect 35% of the hours worked on the project to be local hires. Many of those will be apprentices and individuals that have had experience with the justice system and trying to make sure that we lift all boats through this project. And we will also have goals around local hire in regards to the operations and maintenance of the line as well. So we have this event next week, specifically targeting the business community. So if you own a business, you know a business owner, there's flyers. My colleague Jeffrey is in the back and can share contact information with you. But we are targeting the 25th for a meeting with the businesses. And then we welcome all of you to come out on the 30th for an open house to learn more about the project. We know it's just on the eve of Halloween. We're going to make it fun. We encourage costumes, we're going to have prizes, we're going to have a good time at the Senior Center, and you get to learn a little bit more about the project. So hope to see all of you there, and really appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit about the Inglewood Transit Connector with all of you.
We have a question at the podium.
Hi, yes.
Hi.
I would like to ask, what type of studies have been done on ridership? Los Angeles is a vehicle-based car, and people love their cars and don't want to get out of them. Transit is not something that's popular here in Los Angeles. Even with the stadium and the traffic, that's one thing we have not been able to overcome, is getting people out of their cars. They would rather pay whatever the price is for parking to have accessibility. There have been several occasions where the stadium and its vendors have rented nearby parking lots, even from the city of Los Angeles, and provided free parking and free shuttle when they in turn have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to rent these parking lots. And still, attendees have refused or have decided not to use these parking structures. So I'd like to know what type of studies are being done and what is actually being done by your team to help educate people on the rail system and to connect people to wanting to take it. Because as far as the cost of parking for the type of clientele the stadium has, it's not the issue, it's the convenience. And transit doesn't bring that convenience.
I think that's a really excellent question. So, I just want to share a couple different responses to that. One is to be able to secure $2 billion worth of funding, we've had to do a number of different ridership studies, and we've had to look, but for both at the state level and the federal level, gone through very rigorous modeling and analysis around ridership, and that's publicly available information if you want to get into the weeds that we're happy to share with you. But I think at the end of the day, if I'm going to be really honest, you have to build a transit system that gets people where they want to go. And I think LA, and I say this, I worked for Supervisor Ridley Thomas, I was involved with building the Crenshaw line, and I think we've worked really hard as a metro system to expand our transit system, but we still have not achieved a transit system that is getting people to what we call their first last mile destination. So we believe that this is really sort of a missing link within the regional transit system, because there's a lot of people that are coming that want to come to watch the Clippers from Pasadena, from Santa Monica, and to think about sitting through the traffic on the 110 and the 105 and all of this sounds like a nightmare, and they would take transit, but it's a mile and a half before to get off at the downtown Inglewood station and have to walk there. So we have to build a transit system that gets people to the front door of where they want to go. And this is why we think, and why there's so much interest in the Inglewood Transit Connector project. So I think, and we welcome your ideas, right? I mean, I think the ridership has been challenged over the last years with Metro. We're not naive to that. But we are excited to be able to really provide a solution that we think gets people to that location. Yeah.
That's good. I have a question about the employment of people. Are they going to be coming from the Inglewood location, the Inglewood city? How you have to apply for their apprenticeships? And is this a temporary job for a few years, or is this going to be a lifetime job? If this is going to stay in the community, can this be a job somebody's going to have for 15 to 20 years? And if you're going to do that, who's going to get it?
Yeah. Also agree. You guys are not asleep after 3 hours of hearing stuff, so I'm super impressed. So again, a couple of different responses to that. The city of Inglewood has signed a community workforce agreement with the trades, because the goal is to be able to attract individuals who are interested from the local community and prepare them for careers in the industry, so that the transit project is a stepping stone to other well-paid jobs in other projects across the region long-term. So that's really the goal on the construction side, but we also recognize that there's a variety of other jobs on the operations and maintenance side. It's different. It may not be as many engineers and architects and other people that will help work on the construction, but we are also committed to recruiting, creating a pipeline of individuals from the community to work on the project for its 30 years of operation. And tomorrow we'll be at the South Bay WIB. We want to partner with the Inglewood School District. We want to really think about how we create those meaningful pipelines so that we are effectively targeting these opportunities for local stakeholders and community members.
Will you be hiring felons, if they're nonviolent felons, giving them the opportunity to change their lives?
Our community workforce agreement sets aside 10% of project hours for people that have come from, that have had a disadvantage. So those are people that have previously experienced homelessness, people that have been incarcerated. The goal is to create those second chance opportunities through this program.
Questions. Thank you for those. It looks like that's it. So thank you so much, Carly. One more time, I want to acknowledge Betty Griffin over here. See her on your way out. Make sure that your property is or is not on the list. I want to thank you all and congratulate you for making it through the night. There's a lot of great information here. I hope it was well received. And before you go, I want everybody to stop right now, real quick, because I have to acknowledge my family. They're the reason why I'm able to be here and provide this information to you. I want to acknowledge my husband, Shannon Faulk, my son, Sebastian, my son, Fitzgerald. Very supportive. They're the reason why I'm able to be here and be the best councilwoman I can for you. Thank you again for coming out, and please do me one favor. The next time we have a town hall, which will probably be in the first quarter of next year, 2024, please tell a neighbor, bring a friend, bring another person from District 4, because especially if it's a senior citizen that may have a bit more of a challenge getting here, put one or two senior citizens in your car, bring them here so they can also get the information. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming out. Councilwoman District 4, I appreciate y'all. Have a great night. Be safe. Bye-bye.